video I will be finishing the dummy bridge. Remember, this is a temporary bridge held on with magnets to help us tune the top. There's a lot to do, so let's get on with it. Having parallel sides on this means it's much easier to line up in that I've only got to worry about lining it up in one direction. I'm not completely parallel in that I'm the thickness of this line out at this end, but I'm not worried about that. This is a dummy bridge, but even if this was the final bridge, I think being less than half a millimetre accurate is good enough. Hate to use the term good enough, but it is. Not bad, but I feel I could be a little bit more accurate. Flipping it over, you can see that these two are pushed together very slightly, and none of them, in fact that one's a bit that way, none of them were exactly on the line, which I knew before I started, although I didn't think they were going to be as far out as in fact they were. This is certainly good enough, but it could be more accurate. I might be being a bit harsh on myself here. But let me show you the chuck of the drill. This is what I'm dealing with. I think I might be getting myself a new pillar drill before I drill the final production bridge. The drill tip is steadier than the chuck would suggest, but you can hear all the wobbling and the clattering. This just isn't a very good drill press at all. From a wobbly drill press to a wobbly bandsaw. I think some of you will be surprised I'm still using this bandsaw, but it does work. It wobbles a lot, the wheels are out of true. But it's convenient. It's raining outside and it saves having to go out and get wet, so to go to my garage. So yeah, I'm going to use this. And so to my favourite power tool. gives a beautiful finish. I'm quite happy with that. I think we'll be coming back to this to bevel the edges, but first I want to try putting some bevels on the wings, just thin the wings down a little bit. That's given me a nice profile, and it's told me where I need to glue a guard on the bridge in order to get the same profile on the bridge. It's a shame I can't do both sides of this simultaneously. I'm going to have to keep close count of the number of turns I'm giving it. I should be giving it 5 turns. I've started off with half a turn, got 4.5 more to do. Let's give this a go. I'm just going to go again because I'm not as close at this end as I am down here. So I haven't moved this much, maybe just a millimetre, but I'm being a bit fussy here. That looks better. Maybe I'm being a bit fussy, but I think the two sides are now fairly even. So far so good, but this bridge I think is the sort of bridge that doesn't need any flat surfaces anywhere, so I'm going to put a dome on this, and it's going to be subtle, but the 15-foot radius dish, which is my tightest radius so far, I think is going to be too subtle. It's only going to drop each side by a fraction. So I'm going to go for a 1 metre radius, which will take about 3/4 of a millimetre off each of these edges. But I don't have a 1 metre radius dish, so I'm going to go and make one. Here's the basic setup. I'm using my bandsaw as a firm base, although it's not that firm, unfortunately. Maybe I'll change the angle of the bandsaw. But I've got the board level, and I've got my pivot. Now I've just got to mount the router and have some fun. Here's my finished dish. I'm really pleased with this. It's very smooth, particularly in the middle. There are a couple of little ripples here, but I don't think I'm going to sand this. I think it's fine as it is. So I'm just going to go straight ahead and glue some sandpaper on. I think what I will do though, because there's some very slight gaps because of the curvature, I'm just going to take a little slither off the edge of these pieces, maybe the middle one, and it just makes the fit a little better. Yeah, still got a little bit to go. And we're there. We're not finished yet because we've got to put a very slight radius on this, and for that we need another radius dish. Well, it's not a radius dish, it's a radius hump. So we'll make that now, and then we've got to put the magnets in, and then we're done. That's given me a good start. I'm just going to have to keep sanding until I've hit the middle bit, and then I'll know that I've got the radius correct. One 28-foot radius block. Remember, there's a radius that way as well as that way, and this is now the same radius as the top of the guitar, and so I can sand the underside of the bridge for a perfect fit. I need something to grip this with, I think. Masking tape on my fingers. Quite how I'm going to know when this is all done, I don't know, because unlike a dish where it's impossible to press the middle into the dish, on this I can rock it backwards and forwards, and so I can be sanding any part of it at any time. So even if I mark the underside with pencil and wait until I've sanded the pencil off, it's possible to sand the pencil off simply by rocking it. So I guess I'm just going to do it by feel until I've got a solid connection. But if I hold it in the middle, then there's less chance of rocking it. I think that's it. My scales have been playing up, but let's see if we can get them to cooperate. Yeah, all up, saddle pins, that's maybe 29 grams. It seems to hover between 28 and 30. I've reduced the size of the saddle, but we can maybe take a little bit more off that eventually. So should we call that 28 grams? And with the magnets, 32 grams. So I've got to take away about 4 grams. Some of the wood will come away when I mount the magnets, but not nearly enough. So shall I butcher this bridge? Let's see how we go. We've got to try and get that down to maybe 29 grams. There's not going to be a gram of bone to take away off that. So let's call that 29, 30. Let's try and take 2 grams off that. See if we can get the weight combined down to... Oh, actually, look, it's hovering between 30, 32. Let's see how we get on. As you can see, I did a lot more weight relief than I imagined, but I've got it down to 30 grams, so I'm happy with that. I was going to super glue the magnets in, but in tentatively testing the fit of this, it's stuck. So I'm going to, hopefully I've got these the right depth, so I'm going to just push them in and hope I've got this right. Oh no, that hasn't... Oh yeah, it's still going in. I haven't quite got that flush, and I really want it flush. Let's try the other one. This one should be deep enough to go flush, as should this one. Oh no, I think I might tap those with a rubber mallet, just see if they'll go. Oh dear, they're standing very slightly proud at the moment. Much relieved. That's flush, slightly below, and I haven't split the bridge. And that is it. Do you like? I'm rather pleased with that. I had wondered whether the magnets would be strong enough to hold through 6mm of MDF, and they are. That's quite a nice fit. So onwards and upwards. It had occurred to me that I haven't actually checked that the slot is big enough, because don't forget I've got the real bridge as well, which I've already routed the slot, but I have my little offcut of saddle, which is obviously for the actual bridge, so let's just try it, fingers crossed.